Good evening, everyone. Well, good evening, good morning, depending where you are at this moment. Welcome to a new weekly market report by ATFX. We are closing a very red week, 23 of June. And remember, click like and subscribe this channel if you like the content. So let me introduce you the main numbers of the week. I'm gonna, like always, I'm gonna try to make a quick summary of all macro and fundamental events during the week. We got the speech on Wednesday of Jerome Powell, answering questions from congressmen and speakers. We also got few macro data, like PMI data related with manufacturing and industrial activity in some countries. We also got the increase of the interest rates increased by the Bank of England, massive. Expectation was 25 basic points, and it was 50 basic points. So you can imagine the reaction of the pound on the Forex markets. It was just jumping against the main currencies, the dollar, the euro. Good week for the dollar. Saying that, it was a good week for the dollar. Index dollar is still rising, resisting really well the 101 points. At the moment, probably in around 103 points. We're going to take a look later on that. Let's take a look right now. How is going the American market? How is the close of the European market? We got both markets in negative. Europe and US are closing or are in red numbers right now. Futures. Let's take a look on the futures. Standard & Poor's 500. It's almost 0.63% down. NASDAQ 100 is almost 1% down. It's 0.96% down. We also got Dow Jones 0.52% down. And in the case of Europe, the futures of DAX, the German futures are 0.77% down. I also got the Stoxx 50. It's 0.60% down. So almost 0.5% of losses. Some of the index, like the Spanish one, it's dropping almost 1% down too. So it's a negative week. It started like a negative week. I actually share with you in social networks few chart patterns. Very interesting. We will take a look later. DAX index, Bitcoin, and also oil. Because whatever is going on right now, it is happening, and it's gonna take a few days of ongoing process. It's actually, I think it's a new trend. We can see how the bullish market is turning in a kind of correction. And that correction probably going to take a few days, not just one. Also, this week it has been negative almost all the week. Now, in terms of news, I want to take a look also on the news to review what was the main factors. Calendar also. Let's go first to the calendar, and then we can take a look on the news. Regarding the calendar, we got a few holidays, include China, the Dragon Boat Festival. It's the second biggest economy in the world, so that make some difference too. But yeah, inflation in UK was we know that data on Wednesday. It was 8.7%. The expectation was 8.4%, so it's even worse. That's why probably the decision of the Bank of England was to increase the interest rates by 1%. So the expectation was an increase of 25% basic points, 25 basic points, and it was increased 50 basic points. So the current interest rate in UK right now is 5%. 5%. It's followed really closely the interest rates in US. Still above the interest rates in the rest of Europe, which is 4%, if I'm not wrong right now. Let me take a look. Europe interest rates 4%. That's correct. So yeah, we can. This thing is giving to us two different things, right? One of the conclusions we can follow is Europe gonna keep rising interest rates because US is right now at 5.75%, 5.25%. Sorry, UK is in 5% at the moment, and Europe is in 4%. So the policy of Europe gonna follow probably the trend and keep rising interest rates, which means, like, unfortunately, we're gonna probably face a recession in Europe as well. Rest of the numbers, we also got some PMI numbers. German manufacturing PMI, it was 41%, good and a strong drop against the 43.5% expectations. So it's again a negative numbers for Germany. It's also going with the SUV indicator with the index of economic expectations in Germany. It was also negative. So this is just adding on the top of the rest of the bad numbers that Germany is getting recently, right? PMI manufacturing index also for England was bad. It was 46.2. The expectation was 46.8. So we can see that, again, the trend is changing. We start to see some negative numbers in terms of macroeconomics, which basically is a kind of chapter 1 of a new scenario. New. For someone's new, from some others, it was like something we can predict quickly, because if you keep rising interest rates, there is only one way the interest rate can go. You keep rising interest rates, and the books, economic books, only explain this relation between interest rates and employment rate in a reversal correlation. So if the central banks are increasing interest rates, we know that sooner or later, unemployment rate is going to rise and the recession is going to come. And this is the moment that we start to see now, step by step, little by little, all macro numbers getting cold and low. We also got inflation, new inflation numbers rising in Japan, which was a country that it seems to, until now, Japan was just dealing with this issue of inflation like away from them. Japan was getting really low inflation numbers compared with US and Europe. Let me take a look. The inflation rate in Japan is 3.5%. But again, last night, the numbers they introduced was like worse than expected. And now going into details, we got here Reuters make a summary of what was the main concerns of politicians in US during this round of questions to the president of the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell. It seems like kind of contradiction, many of the things that he was mentioned during the speech, because if we face few days ago, just the official press conference of Federal Reserve was given to us a pause on the interest rate. Right now, the words that he was using during this speech, it was completely different. He said that they are really concerned about the inflation. They are actually really compromised with increased interest rates to keep on holding inflation, and still they're gonna hold the targets of 2% of inflation rate, considering that US right now is in around 4%, I believe. Let me take a look. 4% of inflation rate exactly. It means like based on his own words, there is a lot of way to work yet. I will say the Federal Reserve has a significant number of proposals it works, but no one have been finalized and brought about to the vote yet. Oh yeah, this is in relation with Republicans, right? Some politicians were asking him about, they were expressing their concerns, they got it, in relation of the suggestions by the Vice President of the Federal Reserve, Mr. Barr, suggesting new rules just to increase the requirements of capital for bank system, for many other banks in US, in order to avoid any situation like Silicon Valley Bank. So it basically increased the cost of capital on these banks. So the main concern of Republicans on this press conference, on this meeting, it was like, yes, it is not the right moment to take this decision right now. This is a quote, okay? He say, now is not the time to be injuring massive new regulatory chains or injuring regional banks which have already been under stress, said Representative Andy Barr of a Kentucky Republican. Now, Powell said that they are considering new regulation, new chains, but they obviously they will apply in long term that new rules, and it's not something that happens from one day to another. It's gonna take a while until they decide exactly what they're gonna do. And also, this Reuters article explained that in that case, in the case that they apply these new rules, they're probably gonna apply these new rules to the big banks first, not to the regional banks, just to avoid any kind of stress on the banking system. Let's move forward. What else? What else we can comment from this week? This was very interesting news. Look, you know that one of the things that are warming up the market and rising concerns is the relation between Taiwan and China, and US with Taiwan and China, right? Actually, many analysts consider like the eventual war in Taiwan could be another disruptive event or macro global event and can cause a shock in the markets like Ukraine did. So I read this news this week and I found really interesting for share with you guys. It says 4 years old Taiwan People's Party poised to shake up 2024 presidential elections, Powell suggests. So basically in this poll, the TPP party will be the third party in Taiwan with intention of vote, like almost 20% of the votes. It's what they expect based on these polls that they will receive. And in that case, it means like the chances of the probability of a coalition of government in Taiwan that is actually friendly with China, because that's the thing, the TPP party, it's a party considered like Chinese friendly. It says here, Independence, Leading Democracy, Progressive Party. Okay, the opposition Taiwan's People Party has risen to become the Iceland's second most popular option in survey findings, predicted to send super shock waves through major election next year. And somewhere here, here it is. So it support, say, findings released on Thursday by the Taiwan Public Opinion Foundation, a major polling body known for its impartial stance, showed that support rates for the relatively Beijing-friendly TPP had risen to 22% from 50.6% a month ago, while the KMT lagged behind of 20.4% from 26.2%. So this party is rising quickly, and it's a party Beijing-friendly, as you read on this South China Morning Post, which can check the rules of the game, right? That's another, talking about China, this is another news that I highlight this week, and I was sharing in social networks. The comments done by, it was a trip done by the Blinken, you know, the Secretary of State of the United States was going to China. That trip was planned months ago, but it was interrupted by the spy balloon crisis, right? Do you remember that crisis? It was just a balloon flying over the American territory, U.S. territory, and it was shutting down. It seems to it was apparently a kind of balloon with many devices to spy and so on, and it was a kind of crisis or diplomatic crisis between China and U.S. by that time. Now, they because of that they delayed the trip of Blinken to China, the diplomatic trip, and to improve the relations between U.S. and China. It was delayed by this incident, and finally, after many months, Blinken was going to China. Okay, listen this. Less than 24 hours after that trip, to improve the relations between China and US, Mr. President Joe Biden made a few comments during a press conference saying that, well, he understands why the president of China was so upset about that balloon. The reason why is because he didn't know that that balloon was flying over US, and he understands that as a dictator, the dictators usually don't like to ignore certain things of the countries. So that was the words. You can find the words. I mean, here in this article, New York Post is just making fun of the news, right? But that was the words that Joe Biden used to refer to Xi Jinping, calling him a dictator. And again, was increasing again the tensions between China and US by mistake. I mean, most of the people think like it was just a bad mistake just to use that words when it's the first speech you're giving after the meeting of your Secretary of State with Xi Jinping. Biden called Xi Jinping a dictator who suffered a great embarrassment over the spy balloon a day after Blinken visit China to ease tensions. That was New York Post published on 21st of June, 2 days ago. Vale? Really funny, really funny story. And it's not also that story. Also, I got another article over, let me take a look. Because China already replied to this situation saying that is really unprofessional, the attitude of the administration of US in these cases. Let me take a look, because I think I saved the article here, and I'm gonna share with you. Here it is. Hold on a second. We are almost there. Okay, let me see the screen with you and pay attention. This is also sad, okay? So South China Morning Post published the reply of the China authorities to these comments from Joe Biden. He said, as China hits back at ridiculous Joe Biden comments on Xi Jinping, bilateral tests to feeble to weaken further, analysts say. US President Joe Biden sparks row with comments on China President Xi Jinping and a spy balloon just a day after top diplomatic visit China. Stop-start, forward-backward style of engagement to become routine with China, not hopeful of better rhetoric from Biden White House, observers say. Now, the article is just mentioned to you the details and the answer that authorities has given. It's not just ridiculous. They also say it's unprofessional. Let me take a look if I can find for you the literally comments, the quote from the Chinese authorities. Here it is. Ministry spokeswoman Mao Ning-sai say the relevant remarks by the US side are extremely ridiculous and irresponsible. They seriously violate basic facts, diplomatic protocols, and China's political dignity. So that's a very nice word in reply to that comments done by Mr. Joe Biden. Now let's move forward and let me share with you a few more things. We also got the comments done by the Minister of Defense of Russia. 2 days ago, actually, Russia warns Ukraine against striking Crimea with US British missiles. In this article is just giving to us a few references. Say Russia Defense Minister Sergei. Let me share the total screen with you, a full screen. It say Minister Sergei Shoigu said on Tuesday, 20 June, that Moscow had information that Ukraine was planning to strike Russian-controlled Crimea with longer-range US and British missiles, and warned that Russia will retaliate if that happened. Russia annexed Crimea from Ukraine in 2014, but considering it to be outside the scope of what it's called is a special military operation. So Russia is considering Crimea like out of the conflict. It's another territory and it's not under threat. But with this new with these new weapons, they can actually target Russia, Crimea territory, and they can actually attack that territory from distance, right? So guess what? It happens. Yesterday, it was already a few attacks reported by, we got here, NBC News. Ukraine strikes key bridge to Crimea used by Russian militaries. And apparently, they say here, the Chonron Bridge is beyond range of the battlefield rockets Ukraine has used for a year, but between reach of newly deployed weapons like British and French air-launched cruise missiles. So because of these French and British new weapons, they can actually attack certain targets in a Crimea area, which it was in theory away from the Ukrainian weapons. So this is exactly the scenario described by the Minister of Defense of Russia, that they say they will. Let me say, this is the quote from the Minister of Russia. The use of these missiles outside of the zone of our special military operation will mean that the United States and Britain will be fully dragged into the conflict and will entail immediate strikes on decision-making centers in Ukraine. Say so you, Minister of Defense of Russia. So far, I understand by these words that what they're saying is like they will consider those countries responsible for this attack, but they will attack those neurological points or the decision points in Ukraine, probably Kiev, to be under attack again for counteroffensive or whatever is the name they want to give into to this. I think that's all so far. Oh, one more thing I want to also comment. Share with you. Let me see if I can find one of the articles about the new ETF based on crypto and Bitcoin. I think it's on my articles list. Well, basically, it's like the new announcement done by BlackRock in regards of they request a new license for an ETF, a new ETF. A new crypto ETF, because the underlying asset will be crypto. Here it is, the article, okay? Markets Insider. BlackRock Pushes for the first ever US spot Bitcoin ETF. Crypto bull Mike Novgrad thinks it could be the best thing that could happen for the world's largest cryptocurrency. BlackRock is seeking to launch the first spot Bitcoin exchange traded fund in the US per an SEC filing. The world's largest asset manager filed the application on Thursday to launch the eShares Bitcoin Trust. Billionaire crypto investor Mike Novograd said that the ETF, if successful, will be the best thing for Bitcoin. It is true. Is this the best thing could happen to Bitcoin? Maybe, because since we know this new, and this came out on 16th of June, that means like it was last week when we got, last Friday when we got this fresh news, right? On Friday, last Friday. Since then, let's take a look what happens. It's time to take a look on the charts too. To Bitcoin. My God, boom. This is so nice. So if think about this, okay? You got the whole US market collapsing, but Bitcoin is rising like a skyrocket. Actually, we shared this this view 3 days ago on our social networks. Let's go to ATFX. Here it is. It was 2 days ago. We published this chart saying, be careful, pay attention to the targets, 30. Now, the target was complete, and it was touched. Let's see now intraday with 4 hours candles. Look how nice it is. It was making a wedge there, and it break out the wedge up. Probably there is some news related with this. Let me take a look if I can find something fresh and new for you. Let's take a look on market news also. And maybe we can find any last minute comment about Bitcoin. Nine minutes ago. Maybe they approved just the license. We got two plus two leverage, this new index. What else? Oh, breaking news. I got also here some comments. Oh, Coinbase wins at the Supreme Court as a ruling reinforced arbitration. Coinbase open I just shared with you, I think last week. These are the comments. In April, Coinbase was open they issued a case against the SEC, the financial regulator in US. The main goal of that too, it was just an open case against the financial regulator in US to force the regulator to set up a kind of rules in advance on cryptocurrencies. If Coinbase wins, it means like probably now the financial authorities in US have to describe and give more specific rules related with crypto assets. And therefore, it's a good news for all the industry, because it means like they're gonna get a kind of legal frame to work on. A kind of step to legalize the crypto assets totally in US. Now this is another one. Leverage Bitcoin future ETF to start trading Tuesday. Sponsors say. Volatility shares say it is two leveraged Bitcoin futures exchange traded fund will be based on CME Bitcoin future prices. Volatility shares 2 plus Bitcoin share ETF will become the first leveraged crypto ETF available in the United States after U.S. Securities Exchange Commission declined to deny the application. Ooh, congratulations. Decline to deny. It means like they approve. An executive at the company told Coinbase. The regulator not denied to the application for the 2 plus ETF paves the way. It's launched this upcoming Tuesday. Volatility Share Chief Investment Officer Stuart Barton said. It is exciting to see digital assets in the ETF wrapper, Barton said. A leveraged 2 plus ETF allows customers to gain Bitcoin exposure by only putting up half the value of the Bitcoin. So it's also using leverage. This is amazing, okay? Prospectus fill-ins say that the ETF will correspond with the CME Bitcoin Future Delayed Roll Index. Well, that's probably the news that is pushing up the Bitcoin on the market, because it's amazing the movement is doing right now. Take a look. Congratulations if you got Bitcoins and you hold Bitcoins. I do. Let me make a quick review on the rest of the markets, and we can just close this this report. Okay. Let's take a look first of all on the Standard & Poor's, the biggest index in the world. As you can see right now, it's doing an ugly pattern that for many of my friends here who love technical analysis could be described as a kind of head-shoulder pattern that is pushing actually the price to the targets of, suspiciously, next support areas in the area of the 200 moving average, which is almost here. So we're probably going to see the SP 500 moving to 4,300 points, which is nothing really. We're talking about intraday. If we move to a weekly, you see the correction could be much bigger. Actually, going to move to the half of the range, 50% of the movement, because basically I took this range based on the one done during the previous months. We are talking from since 2022 until first quarter of 2023, we didn't break out this range. So the next range of this range will be obviously that will be the target. I mean, we can expect the price move between these levels, and that means like now we are actually touching the top of this channel, and then therefore we can expect a correction. Take a look. These other levels seems to be more plausible, right? 4,120 is probably more or less around 4,000. Yeah, 4,100 points. That's probably one of the levels that we can expect as a target, biggest target. Okay. Let's move also to NASDAQ. NASDAQ is also losing 15,000 points, which is a very important. I was mentioning the previous reports during this week, the ones I did on the daily basics, morning talks, the daily show I'm doing. I was just mentioned that the main goal from NASDAQ will be just keep the 15,000 points over the week. By the end of the week, try to still quote about 15,000 points. It's not the case. It's losing that levels. It's right now quoting at 14,900 points. 14,900 points. 40,900 points. That's the levels of NASDAQ right now. Let's take a look also in German market. I share with you guys this chart also in social networks. You can again go to the ATFX tweet. ATFX Latin America, okay? But anyways, charts are charts, and you can also use a translator. 1, 2, 3 movements, 1, 2, 3 waves with the corresponding corrections. If you take a look, this is something I was mentioning in one of the reports. This wave is definitely like the most strong and longest one. The next one is 0.618% of the previous one, and the third one is 50% of the first one, which means, from Elliott theory perspective, that the extended wave was the first one, and that's one of the preconditions to see a strong correction in a movement. I mean, it's common sense. You can see how the price is moving slowly, and breaking up right now the main bullish trend, right? With this breakout, probably what we're gonna see is like A, B, and C pattern, which means like a initial drop going to from right now we are quoting at 15,850 points to probably the area of 15,050 points, more or less. And that's the initial support. Why? Because if this movement is getting a proper correction, it's gonna go, let's say 50% of the whole movement is gonna move you probably in the area of 14,000. 200 exponential moving average is in around that area, and around between 2,000 14,000 points to 14,150 points. But yeah, it's not good. It's not good at all. Let's take a look also on dollar index. It's doing a various pattern, but this week at least it's rising. Okay, if you go to intraday, you will see that it's rising from 100. You see, we got supports here in around 101.50 points on DXY, the dollar index. And this week, it was just dropping for the last 3 weeks. It was getting weaker and weaker, the dollar, against the next the other currencies. But this week, it was rising back again. And right now, we're in around 103 points from 101 point. So it's rising, it's skipping. We could say in general terms that as far as we don't see this index losing the 101 points, you cannot say that dollar is gonna get weaker and weaker. And in that case, if dollar is resisting well these areas and is still pushing back, rising again to 103, 104, 106 points, 108 points, definitely take a look to the dollar, to the gold. Gold is gonna keep dropping. Do you remember this chart? I also shared this chart. It's a super clear symmetric range done from 2050, 2000, even $70 per ounce to the supports of around $1,600 per ounce. So right now we're in that range. I was published this chart many days ago, and still is what we can see right now is the gold is going in that direction. It's canalizing the chart. It's just going to probably to the 50% of the movement, which is taking you to the 1875, 1880, $180 per ounce, and that's one of the closest supports. Naturally, the main goal probably is get close to $1,800 per ounce in a bearish gold market, which means the dollar is still strong and have a game to play yet. Okay. Moving to oil, very interesting also the movement is in the oil industry. You can see that we are right now in a area of supports between $68 to $70 per barrel in Brent. It's probably a clear support area. You can see the chart here: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 support areas in that levels. It is true that has been getting weaker and weaker the last few weeks, but it's also true that that support seems to be a really strong support, because since the price was closing above that levels in around 2010, more or less. It was rising massively in 2011 with the Arabic Spring, right? The revolutions in all the Middle East. It was dropping by 2014, and since then, we only have been quoting above that level since September 2021, so 2021. Now it's time maybe for a change in the patterns, and still again $68 to $70 per barrel is a really good price for many funds, for many traders, commodity traders who are looking to take advantage of this movement. So that's what I mean when I say that these oil charts are giving to us really attractive levels if you're looking for a market to buy. You got here in the screen. Please remember, it's really important, this thing. Remember, I'm not trying to convince you to do absolutely anything. This is just my personal opinion, and it cannot be considered advice of any kind. And if you are considering to invest in financial markets, please consult your financial advisor first. And I'm not your financial advisor. I'm just the guy who's sharing with you few trading ideas. Well, I'm sharing my view of the trading ideas, not precisely or needed to be the ideas or related or subscribed by ATFX. It's my own personal ideas. And ATFX doesn't need to be agree with these ideas, okay? Well, that's the market of oil. Let's take a look also on Bitcoin, and we are done. But we already checked the Bitcoin, and it's amazing. It's going really well, really well, that movement. Now it's twisting back, but still super attractive, the breakout on that last weight for done this week. And still this week was starting with a massive movement on Tuesday, a massive bullish movement up. And now with this news that apparently the next week gonna start to be quoted on the financial markets in US, the new ETF crypto found. That's great news. The SEC apparently approved the license, and so that's what we're gonna expect. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this market report. I'm gonna try to improve the part of the content and the topics and so on. And I hope to see you next Friday. Okay, take care with the market and have a good weekend. Bye bye.